Generally speaking, the city of Durban and its adjacent beachfront is not associated with activities of a high-velocity nature, but that changes on one weekend every year when Durban hosts the South African round of the A1 Grand Prix World Cup of Motorsport. The international event, held on a specially built street circuit, boasts varied entertainment and colourful parades for its many spectators, few of whom ever get to witness the spectacle of circuit racing up close and personal. They got a bonus at last weekend's Durban street race, when the activities included rounds 1 and 2 of this year's Bridgestone SA Production Car Championship. The Nissans of Leroy Poulter and Richard Rutz headed up the Class A grid for Saturday's opening race, followed by the Audi of Melville Priest and Etienne van der Linde's BMW. In Class T, Volkswagen Golf GTI drivers Graham Nathan and Heinz Bozay would start ahead of Mini Cooper S pilots Garth Bobrsky and Robert Volk.
First race underway and down towards turn number 1. It's Leroy Poulter who gets the jump on the start. Richard Rutz slots into second place and Melville Priest is up into third. He's got Etienne van der Linde and Gary Vermato on his outside. Coming down into this treacherous little hairpin here. Looks like, oh, action already! Can you believe it? The My Car Audi has bumped one of those Castrol BMWs. I think that's Etienne van der Linde. And he's gone right to the back of the field, and there's Claire Vale, and all problems for Robert Volk in the Finter Parts Mini as well. First 3 cars through, and no problems for them, though. It's all Nissans at this point in time. Leroy Poulter leading Richard Rutz, and then Gary Vermato's right on his tail. It's the 2 Sasol Nissans, and they're sandwiching the dealer team Nissan of Richard Rutz. Then we got Sean Watson-Smith, Shop Sapuka. Then we got Michael Steven. The first of the BMWs is Anthony Taylor. He's way down there. We see Peter Lindenberg going through, and the first of the Golf GTIs. Look at this, Graham Nathan. First time out, and he's already leading Class T. He's going to be a man to watch out for this season. There's no doubt in that Webcom Golf GTI. The My Car Sonax Audi of Melville Priest starting to make his way through as we see Heinz Bozay there in second place with a Castrol Mini of Garth Bobrsky right on his tail and pushing hard. Can you believe how these boys are pushing in this very tight circuit down in Durban? Designed specifically for A1 Grand Prix cars. It's the first time that the production cars have come down to A1, and it's great to have them here. First round of the West Bank Super Series taking place here, and it's championship points that are up for grabs in this first heat. Across the line to complete lap number 1. No one is going to catch Leroy Poulter by the looks of things. He's starting to open up a huge gap. Speaking of closing down gaps, here comes Etienne van der Linde. He's the man who was bumped in the first corner. He's made up a lot of ground. He's looking to go around the outside of the teammate of the man who bumped him. That's Johan Free in the MD Transport Audi. The man who bumped him is a little bit further back in the field. We saw him a bit earlier trying to get through some of the Golf GTIs. Sean Watson-Smith starting to put some pressure onto the back of Gary Vermato now. Is he going to be able to get through there? Richard Rutz is absolutely flying at the moment. Keep an eye out on him. He's going to be a man to catch Leroy Poulter. If anybody is going to be able to do it, it's going to be him. As they go through the Telkom chicane now, down a little straight away, and then they'll head into a smaller chicane. It's really tight. Oh, look at that. Richard Rutz having to take evasive action of something. Something went wrong there. I think he was just late on the brakes and had to straighten up that chicane. That might have done a bit of damage to the car. We'll keep an eye and see what happens there. Here he comes back down the back straight away. Bits and pieces of car all over the road. Sean Watson-Smith looking to go up the inside of Gary Vermato. He's got the line. Is he going to be able to hang on to it as they come into this very tight right-hander? This takes them past their own pit building, and it comes up onto the brakes, and yes, indeed, it's the Engine Extreme Audi who's got ahead of the Sasol Nissan of Gary Vermato. Sapuka right onto the tail of Gary Vermato as they came through that corner. He looks like you can see there might be a problem there with Gary's car, and that wing mirror we saw earlier is actually off the side of Gary's car. The rest of the field comes streaming through there. Just behind Sapuka, it's Michael Steven. Then we've got Anthony Taylor. Taylor looking for a way past as well. Unfortunately, BM's not having the pace that they'd like this early in the season. The Audis and Nissans dominating up front. Remember that we've got 3 Subarus involved there as well, with Peter Lindenberg, Darby Olivier, and Claire Vale. I'm sure we'll get to see them a bit later on in this race. But Sapuka looking for a way past his teammate. And is he going to be able to find one down the main straightaway as they cross the line to start another lap? Look at the gap that Leroy Poulter has opened up on Richard Rutz, and Rutz is under some serious pressure from Sean Watson-Smith. Watson-Smith goes up the inside. Well, he runs a bit wide. He was very late on the brakes. Richard Rutz comes straight back at him, but you can see that there's definitely a problem with Rutz's car. It looks like Rutz is battling there with some kind of suspension problem, because he's really having a tough time of it when he's on the brakes. But he's hanging on at this point in time, and it's a great effort from Richard Rutz in the Posel Safe Drive car. Down towards the Telkom chicane they come. Let's have a look and see if it's going to affect him through here, because this is very hard braking here. Yes, indeed, look at the way that Rutz gets out of shape there. And there's definitely a problem in that Nissan 350Z of Richard Rutz. Sean Watson-Smith sees that there's a problem. He knows he's going to be able to get him down the back straight. He's just setting him up. And is he going to be able to blast past like he did? Yes, indeed. And he brings, looks like he's going to take Gary Vermato with him. No, Richard Rutz shuts the door. I think Roots might realize that he is in the Nissan dealer team and he needs to assist his fellow Nissan drivers if he has a problem. He does indeed. He moves over, and it looks like he's going to allow Gary Formato and Chop Sapuka to come through. I'm not quite sure if he's going to do the same thing to Michael Stephen and Anthony Taylor. No, not indeed. He just shuts the door and makes his car very slippery and sliding. Oh, there's definitely a problem with that car. Rootsy is battling to hang on to that postal Nissan of his. The rest of the Nissans not having any hassles at this point in time other than that wing mirror that's missing on Gary Formato's car. But as they go now around the right-hander and head up towards that main straightaway, it's going to be Leroy Palter who's still leading up front. It's Sean Watson-Smith now who's in second, and then the two Sassel Nissans of Gary Formato and Chop Sapuka as the rest of the field come through there. Look at the gap that Melville Priest has made up as well. Remember, he was involved with Etienne van der Linde right at the beginning of the race in turn one, and he's right up behind him now, and they're on the tail of his teammate, that man, Johan Fourie, in the MD Transport Audi. Across the line they come to start another lap. This is really awesome racing, and considering that there's just concrete barriers left, right and center of the circuit, you've got to be so careful not to make any mistakes. Looking up the inside goes Michael Stephen, and he's pipped one of the Nissans. Can you believe it? That's Chop Sapuka he's taken out there. That's a big pity there, because Sapuka was on with a chance of getting into the podium positions. And speaking of some more havoc, here we go. It's Anthony Taylor who gets, I think he might have just got a little nudge there from Richard Roots, I'm not quite sure. But it's Anthony Taylor who's put his BMW into the wall. Have a look at this in slow motion again. That is Michael Stephen going into the side, or the backside of Chop Sapuka. Just trying to pick up what happens between Roots and Taylor. Toe. Yeah, that's exactly what they need to do, that vehicle. Unfortunately, that is some serious problems there for those cars involved. And Chop Sapuka falling way back into the field now. This is also a very good battle that's raged right the way through. That's Marco Acuna in the Tubular Tech Nissan dealer team car. And right on his tail is the MD Transport Audi of Johan Fourie, looking for a way past all the time. You can see that Nissan 350Z has got a few battle scars on it as they come down towards the first turn. Looks like Marco Acuna's got a problem here. Yes, he's left. He's braking a little bit too late, and he's gone into the wall. Can you believe it? A big mistake there from Marco Acuna. He was under immense pressure from Johan Fourie, though, and that's probably what caused him to miss the braking point. And, of course, with all the concrete around him, it's not easy to pick up on that braking point. There you see him just getting out of shape, and bang, into the wall. What a pity there for Marco Acuna in the Tubular Tech Safe Line car. Back to the battle of the Vic Maharaj Racing Audis. It's Johan Fourie who's just ahead of Melville Priest there. The MD Transport car ahead of the My Car Sonics car. And here comes Etienne van der Linde. Well, he's made up a lot of ground considering him and Melville Priest were involved in that first corner incident. He's now right on the tail of Gary Formato, who can pick up that car pretty easily because it hasn't got a left-hand side mirror. There he comes, Gary Formato, number 22, Sassel Nissan 350Z, and he's hanging on to that third spot for dear life. He's got a BM and two Audis that won fast in a big way. And as they go down towards turn number one, are we going to see some more action between those BMs and Audis? This is the overtaking maneuver for Johan Fourie to get past. A great bit of driving there for Fourie. The door was open. Melville Priest, unfortunately, trying to keep Anthony Taylor at bay. And here they go into the first turn. It's a big, tight hairpin. And as they come out of that, it looks like it's side-by-side action here between van der Linde and Fourie. Van der Linde's got the inside line, though, for the next turn, so he should hang on to that fourth spot. He does indeed. And Johan Fourie just has to go back in line astern to complete another lap and another corner as they come down towards the Telkom chicane. This is going to be tight stuff between these boys. Two Audis, a BM and a Nissan. Are they going to fit through this tight chicane? No, they're not. They're going to go through their line astern. No antics at the moment as they go up towards the other chicane. Right, back in the field. Looks like Acunha's got going again, but we're watching the battle between the two Golf GTIs. It's the Webcom car on the left-hand side of Graham Nathan and the privately entered BP Golf GTI there of Heinz Bozé, who's leading. Nathan looking for a way up the inside. Is he going to be able to make it stick? No. Bozé just shuts the door and says you're going to have to work harder than that, Graham. Graham Nathan coming from Volkswagen Polo Cup Series and now joining the GTI Brigade in Class T. It's great to have so many GTIs in the Class T for this South African Bridgestone Production Car Championship. Here's the battle we want to see, though. This is for fourth position, and can you believe it? The third place man is leading at this point, and they are battling for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth here. And here comes the My Car Sonics Audi, and look at this again. Can you believe it? He's clipped the same person in the same corner, and van der Linde is not going to be happy about that. He says, take that. See if he can get going. I think he might have actually done some damage to his car there. Yes, indeed. Van der Linde's suspension at the back of the car is completely wrecked. And unfortunately, I think that might be the end of his race. But Castrol BMW are not going to be happy about that. And I'm sure the clerk of the course is going to have something to say about this incident. There you can see the Sonics My Car Audi of Melville Priest trying to go up the inside of his teammate. His teammate even had to take evasive action. And, well, the Castrol BMW unfortunately came off worse for wear there. Etienne van der Linde, twice in one race, being taken out by the same man. That ain't going to go down too well with the clock of the course. Hopefully they'll sort that out, though, and we'll have that all sorted by the next heat. Van der Linde there, as you can see from another angle, Just getting clipped by the MyCar Sonics Audi of Melville Priest, and then just clipping him back and saying, take some of your own medicine back. Unfortunately, that cost him a little bit of a bit more damage than what was required. There's one of our Subarus in the front of the picture here. That's Claire Val, the only lady driver in the West Bank Super Series. It's good to see her out there in the metal paints Subaru. But here comes the leader, and that's the gap he's got over second place man, Sean Watson-Smith. Leroy Poulter in the Sasselness and absolutely dominating here in Durban so far. Third place, still Gary Formato. Although he has slowed down a bit, I think he might have just been it easy. You don't want to take it too easy with a man like Johan Fourie in the MD Trump closing you down. Even though he's been involved in a little bit of fracas right at this particular point that we're going through at the moment. But it's Gary Formato who's in third place. Then it's the two Audis. They're still circulating. You see Melville Priest there still in fifth place. He's going to be under some scrutineering and some questioning from the clerk of the course, I'm sure. Looks like Richard Ritz is still out there as well. He's circulating just to try and get as many points as possible. Remember, this is a championship round, even though we only got Class A and T down at the A1 Grand Prix. But it's all about this man, Leroy Poulter. He's finished the season with a win, and he looks like he's going to be starting the season with a win as well in the Sassel Nissan. He has problems though. Robert Volk parked in the middle of the circuit. Might call for a red flag, and if we get a red flag at A1, unfortunately, let's see what happens with Robert's car. There you can see the back wheel just disintegrating there. I think a big suspension problem on that Mini Cooper S. And I think he might have just clipped the curb there, which has done damage to the right rear side. Yes, indeed, the red flag coming out. And as I said earlier, well, I was about to say earlier, the red flag may cause the race to be stopped completely. They've done enough laps. And because we're running on a tight schedule here at the A1 Grand Prix, that's going to make that ban come through in the first place. Leroy Poulter is going to take it ahead of Sean Watson-Smith. And I think Gary Formato will finish up in third place. They'll go a lap back after the incident, and that'll give the final results for race number 1.
Poulter finished 5 seconds ahead of Watson-Smith with Gary Formato's Nissan, Etienne van der Linde's BMW, plus the Audis of Johan Fourie and Melville Priest rounding up the top 6 places. Heinz Bo's Day 1 Class T in his Golf GTI, followed by the similar Volkswagen of Graham Nathan and the Mini Cooper S of Garth Verbisky.